we have the 7 classes series, and it is with the great enthusiasm started by the Mahesh Madkorkar and our team. I thank Hiral Shah and Sejal Shah and Sujoy Mehta for giving a very good support for organizing these lectures. We have total 7 lectures, online courses will be there, coaching classes. The first day will be we have the, as you are seeing this in the screen, that CA Hiral Shah is there for registration. Then second topic is time of supplier. Mr. Santanu Bhagwe is there on 21st April. Then third topic is place of supply, CA Aditya Surte. Then fourth topic is input tax credit, CA Achit Shah. We have speaker for RCM and composite supply, CA Ritesh Mehta from Nagpur. For returns, we have CA Jatin Chheda. For refund, we have our own committee member, Advocate Sejal Shah. So we have the speaker time. We have given the speaker time of 60 minutes, and then there will be a 15 minutes question and answers. You can raise the hand. You can write on the chat also your queries. That will be taken for the question and answer session. Thank everybody for attending this lecture series in the online coaching classes. I thank our president, Mr. Dinesh Tambre, my whole team, Raj Shah, Vice President, Honorary Treasurer Alok Mehta, and Honorary Joint Secretary, my co-joint secretary, Mr. Now I request convener of this coaching class, Mr. Mahesh Madkorkar, to take the charge. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gujlani ji. With our president's initiative, and I have taken that let us meet at the lockdown period so that we can utilize our time in best possible manner. So once lockdown is over, we will take up this sharpening our skills and start our practice. I'm very pleased to introduce our Managing Committee member of GSTPM, Hiral Shah. He is a MCOM, FCA, DISA, LLB. He is all these our webinars is well conducted and orchestrated by our Hiral Shah, practicing chartered accountants, and he has delivered various lectures in WRC and various branches, and always he is a speaker in our coaching class committee. And today we are having this registration under GST. May I request all the participants to mute their own videos. You have to be always on the mute mode, because otherwise there will be a disturbance and we cannot hear to our speakers. And this is a series of 6, 7 lectures. And those background material, background music is coming. That's why I request everybody to mute. I will mute after this start. And there will be 7 series of lectures. It will be a free of cost, first of all, for every members. Only thing that those who have not yet become member are requested to become members, so that all the activities they can participate in all the activities of the GSTPM. With this, I hand over to our speakers, today's speakers, inaugural speaker, CA Hiral Shah. Thank you, Hiral.
Thank you, sir, for the kind words. We are always there for the association and trying to do our best. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to share my knowledge. So, now coming to the subject proper, registration under GST Act. So what would we be going ahead with? The topics that would be covered today by me would be when is there a need for registration? What are the threshold limits? And what are the types of suppliers? That is basically your different suppliers under which you can get registered. Sorry, before I forget, for this presentation, the PowerPoint presentation, it would be incorrect on my part to not thank CA Alok Mehta, whose presentation has been imported by me for today's lecture. Thank you, Alok. Okay. So, need for registration, threshold limits, and types of suppliers. So first, who are the persons who are liable for registration? So the answer is there under section 22 subsection 1 of the CGST Act, which says every supplier shall be liable to be registered under this act in the state or union territory other than special states from where he makes a taxable supply of goods or services or both, and if his aggregate turnover in a financial year exceeds 40 lakh rupees for goods and 20 lakhs for services. The new limit is with effect from 1st April 2019. So here we come down to the point that every supplier, it starts with who are the persons who are liable, and it says that every supplier is liable to register. So that is something which we need to keep in mind, that everybody is liable to be registered. It is just that government has given certain exemptions to you. It is basically, it is a right which is given to you, that is not that is a privilege given to you. So it is nothing that you can say कि नहीं, I will claim this, ऐसा लिखा है एक्ट के अंदर तो मैं ऐसे ही करूंगा, नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होता. आपको वो ध्यान में रखना होगा कि it starts with every person, every supplier shall be liable. Now what is supply? That would be considered in other topics when we come down to that. Now, so then for each and everything you have to refer the relevant definition. So now in this section 22 subsection 1, there is a proviso which says, provided that where such person makes taxable supplies of goods or services or both from any of the special category states, he shall be liable to be registered if his aggregate turnover in a financial year exceeds 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs. So what are the special category states? That also we would come down to. It is basically the entire discussion would revolve around this section itself, and each and every point we will take further on. So now, as it starts with aggregate turnover, it says aggregate turnover in a financial year. So how do we define aggregate turnover? The definition of aggregate turnover is mentioned in section 2, as most of us know that section 2 of most of the acts contain the definitions. So section 2 subsection 6 is the definition of aggregate turnover. It is defined to mean aggregate value of taxable supplies, exempt supplies, export of goods, services or both, interstate supplies made by a person having the same PAN to be computed on all India basis. So what every kind of turnover. So here it is, they have made it amply clear that all these things would be taken as aggregate turnover. The summation of all these would be taken as an aggregate turnover. Whereas they have specifically said, now what we say let's take chartered accountant services, for example. So 100 rupees is the services that is provided by us, 18% is the GST thereon. So it becomes 118. Here the aggregate turnover, it's a very crude example to make you understand this, the later part. So 18%, say I have made an IGST, provided an IGST service, so 18% thereon. So for aggregate turnover, 100 would be considered, not 118. It is very clear that they have mentioned that CGST, SGST, UTGST, IGST and cess are not to be included in such supplies. With further, value of inward supplies on which tax is payable on reverse charge basis is also to be excluded. So here, this is one point that we need to keep in mind, that it is 100 which is termed as aggregate turnover, not 118. Now, see, these are the very fine points that we need to see. I was just discussing with one of my colleagues. He said, "अरे sir, एक घंटा आप रजिस्ट्रेशन के ऊपर क्या बोलोगे? रजिस्ट्रेशन में ऐसा क्या होता है?" मतलब these are the very fine points that we need to see and keep in mind. That is important. Otherwise, most of us know the basics of GST. Here, these are the fine points which we need to keep in mind. Now, they said, say a dealer is selling goods worth rupees 35 lakhs in the state of Maharashtra. Say we are assuming normal goods. So, not required to be registered. Whereas there are special category states as per the constitution. Article 279A, which says Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Kashmir, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, Tripura, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand. All these are considered as special categories.
दादाजी दादाजी
Turnover. The registration limit for turnover in these states is 20 lakhs. So it is basically special category states and non-special category states. Say the state
Mute other participants.
of Maharashtra. It is a non-special category state and normal state, or the state of Gujarat. So wherever there you have a turnover limit of 40 lakhs for registration, so special category states have it at 20 lakhs. For services, if we have it 20 lakhs in the state of Maharashtra, it is 10 lakhs in these states. So basically, these are the states wherein the registration limit would change. So these are basically the special category states. You know, how are these states defined? These states are coming up, they are growing. So they don't have many dealers who would fall into the GST bracket. So to support the state government also, these states are put under the special category for them to develop themselves. Now, that is a state-wise threshold limit. So you have up to 31st January. So our clauses for registration, the threshold limit for registration changed from 31st of January. So what were the limits otherwise? So in the special category states, up to 31st January 2019, it was 10 lakhs, the registration limit. From 1st February, it has been made 20 lakhs. When the limit raised for the entire country from 20 lakhs to 40 lakhs, as it's seen in column number 2 and column number 3, whereas in these states, it had become 10 lakhs and 20 lakhs. Whereas you have the northeast, the far northeast states, Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland and Tripura, they are continued under the threshold limit of 10 lakhs. See, when we are talking about, we are sitting in Maharashtra talking about Maharashtra and neighboring states. So these things don't matter much, but we have to keep this in mind for just knowledge purposes. Now, when we go further, the definition of person, section 2, subsection 4a, person. So the definition started with every supplier shall be liable to be registered under this act, person liable for registration. So we need to understand person. Here, even the definition of person, which has been mentioned under the act, it is a very inclusive definition. Every person falls into the category. The definition is quite similar to that of the Income Tax Act. So it says an individual, HUF, company, LLP, AOP, BOI, everything, even corporations established under the Central Act, State Act, under the different companies act, example SBI, LIC, RBI, ONGC, corporations established under Central Act. If we say the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India would fall under that category. Any body corporate, a cooperative society registered under any law relating to cooperative societies, local authorities, central government, society, every artificial jurisdictional person not falling within any of the above. So basically everybody is included. So the definition of person, at times what happens is you have many misconceptions. Rather than misconceptions, people are adventurous while discussing things. They would say, "Arey, now we have the Calcutta Club judgment, so सोसाइटी को लेने की जरूरत ही नहीं है, अभी तो जजमेंट आ गया." See, we would not discuss on those things. The definition of persons is very clear under the act, and it includes everything. Everybody is a person, and if you are supplying goods or services which are above the limit and subject to other conditions, you have to get yourself registered. That is the thing. Need for registration. So the point comes कि अरे क्यों register करवाना है? What is the need for registration at all? नहीं करवाते registration. There it is, legal recognition. See, you have many MSMEs who are working as in proprietorship name. So नहीं ये GST number है, हाँ ठीक है. तो एक recognition है. You have, you go to a bank. A proprietor goes to a bank. I want to open a bank account. The first thing that the bank would say, अरे वो GST registration लेके आओ. So you have people you say, अरे नहीं GST registration लेके आओ. अरे कहाँ से? आप बैंक अकाउंट ओपन करो तभी GST registration देंगे ना. But that is कि नहीं, government proof चाहिए. So this is a legal recognition. Unique ID number for obtaining and correlation of business data. So it is a useful tool for the government as well, where they get different data. So data is very important for any economy to function. Okay, data by electronic means on a central level basis, you get awesome data out of it. Distinct entity for filing of returns and assessment. Yes, so you have different entity. Eligibility to pass input tax credit to eligible purchaser. If you are registered, then only you can charge GST. If you can charge GST, then you can pass on the implication to the other party, to the opposite party. States versus center. This is one of the things. If you would just excuse me for a minute, please. Sorry, the battery of the laptop was weakened. Okay. States. So here you have India being a federal economy, you have a distinction between states and center. So it was projected as one nation, one tax. However, if you are providing services from multiple states, it is no one nation, one tax. You have to get registered in the respective states. Here, for example, I am having an office in Mumbai. Again, I have a branch office at Chennai, say a branch office at Chandigarh. In that case, I am providing services from 3 different places, that is Mumbai, Chennai and Chandigarh. So in that case, I have to get the registration in the state of Maharashtra, in the state of Tamil Nadu, and in the state of Punjab. So for every state, there will be a separate registration, not a single registration all across the country. Now, so the types of a normal, here we are first, let's take in different types of dealers, the normal or the regular dealer. So a normal person, say first and foremost, we'll talk about a small person. So to understand the difference, say a Karyana shop, a small dealer, but he is providing the services to, say he's a wholesaler of a particular area, an area is given to him, and he is providing his goods only within, say, Mumbai or within Maharashtra. He's a wholesaler in a particular place, so he's supplying to that limited proximity area only. So if he is supplying only within the state of Maharashtra, whichever state it is, so if it is only intrastate supply, then the turnover limit is 40 lakh rupees for goods, 20 lakh rupees for services. So here we have it, okay, the turnover limit for 40 lakhs and 20 lakhs for services, that is from 1st January 2019 that it has come. However, if the dealer is supplying goods outside the state of Maharashtra, say a dealer, he is having a small office, normally catering to people just in and around the area. However, he makes one supply, his turnover is only 10 lakh rupees, so he is not registered in the state of Maharashtra. However, he gets an order from the state of Gujarat. अहमदाबाद से उसको किसी ने फोन किया, सर मेरे को ये माल भेजो, 10,000 रुपए का है, मैं एडवांस में आपको दे देता हूं, आपको यूपीआई दे दीजिए, मैं ट्रांसफर कर देता हूं, आप गुड्स भेज दीजिए. Oh, nice, I'm getting order from the state of Ahmedabad. There, even if one single supply is made outside the state of Maharashtra, then he shall have to get himself registered. Or the third portion is, he is liable to pay any amount on reverse charge. Let's take an example. The small shop again, not having a turnover more than 10-15 lakhs, very well, say within the jurisdiction of Thana only he is sitting and supplying goods. Fine. So he's sitting in Thana. So he went to Mr. Sunil Khushlani, our advocate's sir, and procured some services from him. The moment he procures any kind of services from an advocate, he is liable to get himself registered under reverse charge basis. Because advocate services are under reverse charge, the person is a business entity and he is procuring services from an advocate towards his business, so he needs to get himself registered. So that is for a normal business. So new business supply within the state, so turnover exceeds threshold, the threshold we discussed in the earlier slide, that is 40 lakhs for goods and 20 lakhs for services. Supplying within the state, that is one point that we need to see. Registration from the date of application. So government has made it very clear, it is mentioned that registration would be applicable from the date the person gets himself registered. He has to apply within 30 days to get input tax credit on all purchases. If applied late, ITC on purchases from the date of registration. Again, all these things we understand with the help of an example. Say there is a dealer, say again same, staying at say Thana and working from a small shop, having normally he is having around a turnover of 30 lakh rupees turnover of goods. However, he exceeds the limit, say on 2nd of January. 2nd January 2020, he exceeded the turnover limit of 40 lakh rupees. So if he has exceeded the limit on say 2nd of January, he has to apply within 30 days. See, what happens is that dealer has been procuring goods from somebody else. So he is eligible for input tax credit, but he always thought कि अरे वो registration का झंझट नहीं चाहिए, तो कभी उसने registration नहीं करवाया. Now he is going in for registration. So he thinks, okay, now when it is mandatory for me to go in for registration, I might as well take the input tax credit of all the purchases which are lying in my stock. So he has to apply within 30 days. Then and then only he would get all the input tax credit for the purchases which have been procured from the date of the turnover exceeding the date. So ITC on all purchases is you have to apply within 30 days. Now say for example 2nd January you have your 30 days which are over, then you go in for then whether you have to go in for 30 days over. Now all his ITC on purchases would be available to him only from the date of registration. Here if he had applied within 30 days, he would have got all the input tax credit on purchases. Here if he is applying late, then it would be applicable only from the date of registration, not from the date of application. Mahesh, should we take in the questions now or later? Whatever the organizers decide.
We can take later.
Okay, fine.
In the chat, it will be there, so that once your lecture is there, then we can take that.
Okay.
Otherwise, flow will not be flow will be disturbed.
No problem. Now, there are dealers ki, okay, I started my business now, so I want to get myself registered. So, and though my turnover, I'm about to start my business. So if I'm about to start my business, then my turnover would be 0 because I've just started it. So even in that case, I can volunteer myself and go to the government and say, okay, I want the registration. So government will give me the registration, even if I have not crossed any threshold limit. And in that case, I would be eligible for all the input tax credit on all the supplies. Business verticals separate registration. Now, it so happens that first let us understand what is a business vertical means. It is a distinguishable component of an enterprise that is engaged in the supply of individual goods or services or a group of related goods or services which are subject to risks and return are different from each other. So you have different verticals. Say one business, say a consultant, a tax consultant, providing, okay, he's into his main business of main profession of tax consultancy. However, he is getting some contact because of his some contacts. He has taken a different agency also. Plus, he is supplying some goods also. So all these things, these can be termed as different business verticals, and you can have, see, I'm very clear, you can apply for separate registration for different business verticals. However, it is up to the government. You have to prove them that, okay, for say Hiral Shah per se, I am doing this profession, I am doing this business, I am doing this. All these are distinguishable from each other. They have no relation to each other. Therefore, I want separate registration for separate businesses. So therefore, I can apply for the same, and government may allot me a different registration for my different business verticals. Say different businesses. Here we just taken the example is not very correct per se, but to give an overall idea. Reliance, what we consider Reliance, okay, Reliance Industries Limited. However, if all these businesses are held by only one company, Reliance Industries Limited, in that case, they can apply for a separate registration for the media house, separate for oil and gas, separate for retail, separate for telecommunications, separate for petroleum products, the retail petroleum. So they can have different, see here in this case, why I said it is not absolutely selection of this is not absolutely correct, because they have separate entities, separate companies registered for this. So they are separate businesses. But if they belong to the same organization, say Reliance Industries Limited, so if different verticals could have different registration numbers. And yes, for each state separate registration. However, within the same state, different business verticals, different registration. You have the second type of dealer is a composite dealer. Say a composite dealer would also be able. It is a scheme. Composition scheme is basically a scheme given to smaller dealers. Smaller dealers, as in, they have been provided. Everybody, when GST came, it is so cumbersome. How do small people comply with it? It is not possible for everybody. So government came out with that scheme at point 1 itself, that okay, for smaller dealers, we are giving you some advantage in terms of compliances. You say yourself, you term yourself as small dealers, and you go in for composition scheme. So your aggregate turnover, if it is below 1.5 crore for a normal dealer, and as I said, for special states, it is always 50% thereof normally. So if you are going in for that, if we are falling into that bracket of composition dealers, then you can get yourself registered as a composition dealer. Okay, it is above 40 lakhs, you get yourself registered, and however, it is less than 1.5 CR, therefore you remain as a composition dealer. It is possible. However, there are certain things, certain items which are, whether you are a manufacturer or a trader, retailer, anything, you are eligible for composition to be known as a composition dealer and get those advantages. However, composition scheme is not applicable in following goods which I have mentioned. When ice cream is manufactured, other edible products are manufactured, pan masala is manufactured, goods, tobacco and manufactured tobacco substitutes are manufactured, then you are out of composition scheme. You are not eligible for composition scheme per se. So you are definitely out of it. So see, there are reasons, and if we go into deliberations, it would be too high. But let's keep it short that these are people who are not eligible for composition scheme, even if their turnover is 1.5 crore, below 1.5 crore. Now that was for trader or manufacturer. So Then there were representations made to the government, various representations made. So then government came up with the notification on 1st of April stating that if your turnover is up to 50 lakhs for service providers as well. Earlier the scheme was only for with relation to goods, whether manufacturing or trading. Now they came up with service providers also, and the points are the same. You can apply for registration in form GSTR REG 01, not a part of the credit chain. What do we mean by credit chain? Input tax credit of one person available to the other person? No. Composition dealer is out of it. No input tax credit can be claimed. There are rates specified: 1% for manufacturer, trader, 5% restaurant. All the composition dealer would be, I think, would be handled by Ritesh Mehta, who would deliberate on it. So basically, the application for registration is the same for composition dealer or non-composition dealer. Just the selection of items is different. Now, if there is a dealer who is already registered, who was a normal dealer dealing normally, now he thinks ki nahi, I think composition scheme is beneficial to me. So yes, he can shift onto composition dealer. If the existing registered dealer desires to opt for composition scheme, he has to opt prior to the commencement of the financial year. So here I have deliberately kept it as on or before 31st March 2019, because for 2019 it was that ways. However, with respect from for this year, due to lockdown, government has extended, okay, even if you want to apply for being a composition dealer, you are a normal dealer, you want to shift to a composition dealer, you can file the form up to 30th June 2020. That exemption is given. Basically all the things which were applicable for 31st March, it is to be read as good as 30th June 2020. Normal to compound. Now composition dealer, okay. Switching over from composition dealer to normal dealer, on your own, you can shift only once a year. That is, once the scheme is selected for a particular financial year, then it is not possible to switch over to the normal scheme during the year. You have to follow it. However, it so happens that the compounding, the taxpayer under composition crosses the threshold limit. Say turnover goes beyond 1.5 crore, or in case of service provider beyond 50 lakhs, then he automatically becomes the normal dealer from the day of crossing the limit. The day the limit crosses, you are by default assumed to be a normal dealer. Even if you contravene any condition, any other condition of the composition scheme, still you are shifted to a normal dealer. Again, that will be covered under the composition scheme, and your same GST number continues. There is no different GST number for a composition dealer and a normal dealer. It is the same. It continues the same. You just have to select the different options. Now, interstate supply. Okay, you are supplying out of the state, so you are liable to get yourself registered interstate supply. So you are liable to get yourself registered. Now there are further dealers. Actually, I need to go a bit fast because the time is short. Then we need to have time for question answers as well. Types of dealers. So it will be a casual dealer, a non-resident dealer, so it is basically both these dealers are registration for a limited period of time. I'll just take one example and get through. Casual dealer, a dealer who comes to the state who is unregistered, business for a limited period. Say there is a limited period exhibition which is going at Nesco or BKC. Somewhere there is a big exhibition going on. Dealers from various states come to the state of Maharashtra and sell the goods here. He has no fixed place of business. He can get himself registered as a casual dealer within the state. It is for a limited period. The registration has been granted to him, where he has no fixed place of business within the state. Casual dealer, there are conditions. This PPT would be shared amongst everybody. So these are just the conditions. Non-resident dealer. Say a foreigner, a person of foreign origin comes to the state of Maharashtra and he is not a resident of India. He takes registration for a limited period only. The goods and services tax law has defined non-resident taxable person very clearly, who has no fixed place of business or residence in India. No business place, no residence, nothing in India. So basically, what is the difference that we will see? The person can get the registration on the basis of a valid passport using form REG09, and before he commences the business in the state of Maharashtra, he means anywhere, whichever state it is, he has to at least 5 days prior to the commencement of business, he has to apply for the registration. So in case of the casual registrations, that is non-resident taxable person also, it has a specific validity, that this is the validity of the registration. So the difference between casual taxable person and non-resident dealer, it is one and the same. One has a PAN because the person is in India, though he is not within the state. The casual taxable person is within the country. Non-resident taxable person is not within the country. So he has a PAN, the other does not have a PAN. The form for application for registration is different. REG01 for the Indian and REG1010 for non-resident. Now, another registration for the input service distributor. So this is another registration which you can get. Input service distributor is a business which receives invoice for services used by its branch. It distributes the tax paid to such branches on proportional basis by issuing the input service distributor invoice. Registration for distributing credit for GST paid on input services. So there is a separate registration for distributing input tax credit on services, which is very much similar to what we had under the service tax arena as well. And it is to be used for multiple locations which have separate registrations. Say again, our favorite example is always Reliance Industries Limited, because each Indian attaches itself very much to the company. So say Reliance Industries pays 1 crore for GST consultancy. God knows good if you get 1 CR. So 18 lakhs is the GST thereon. By whichever mode you say CGST, SGST 99%, or we just take it as GST 18%. So this 1 crore that is being paid towards the consultancy, it is on behalf of all its units. The company is paying, say it is for some consultancy at unit A, unit B, unit C, wherever it is, but it is paid by the HO. Now the amount is paid by the HO. However, HO per se has not does not consume all the services. The 1 crore worth services is not for the HO. It is to be distributed unit wise to its different units. So if it is, so Reliance can distribute its input tax credit amongst various units if and only if it is registered as an input service distributor. Now there are suo motu registrations also which can happen. Say in enforcement cases यानी ऑफिसर आ गया आपके पास, चलो सर मिलते हैं. So government, they themselves can register even if there is no PAN. A temporary registration is given and later on it is converted to a PAN based registration. The order, see, when somebody comes to your place and asks you for registration, he has to issue an order in GSTR Reg 12. Registration will be effective from the date of the order. Such person is required to apply for registration within 30 days from the date of such temporary order unless he files an appeal. He says, no, I'm not liable for registration. Officer says you are liable for registration. So the dispute can be settled by means of an appeal. Now, here we discussed about the threshold कि okay 40 lakhs limit है नहीं है, क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना है. However, section 24, the registration section has provided certain people who are required to get themselves registered without irrespective of their threshold limit. Turnover 5 लाख रुपए का भी है, 5,000 का भी है. बिजनेस स्टार्ट किया, आपको इसका you have to get yourself registered. So please just excuse me for a minute. हाँ बोल रहे. I'm in a webinar. I'll catch up. I'll call you on. A person making any interstate taxable supplies from, as I said, interstate supply, taxable, here we have with effect from 15th of November 2017, person supplying interstate supply of services, then he is not liable to register if turnover is less than 20 lakhs. So an exemption has been given to supplier of services. Casual taxable person making taxable supply. So as we discussed, casual supplier, taxable person, yes, he has to get himself registered. Persons required under reverse charge, we discussed earlier. Electronic commerce operator. So you have all these e-commerce sites. See, normally what happens is we say कि यार e-commerce वो तो Amazon वाला registration लेगा. No, you are supplying which comes later on. कि even if you are supplying goods or services through the e-commerce operator, then supplier is required to get himself registered. So irrespective of your turnover, you have to get yourself registered if you are supplying goods. If you are supplying goods to various parties. Am I audible or the voice? There is some problem with the voice. Could somebody confirm, please?
Okay, our sound is okay.
Okay, sir. Fine. Okay. So again, input service distributor has to get himself registered. Persons who are required to deduct tax at source, they have to get themselves registered again. TDS portion chapter would be taken later on. The agent supplying on behalf of his principal. Only if principal is liable to get registered, then the agent is also liable to get himself registered. Say the principal only is having a turnover of 10 lakh rupees. So then agent is not required to get himself registered, even if he is supplying on behalf of the principal. every person supplying online information. You have database supply services, MIS services, which is a big booming service. They have to get themselves registered. Any other class or classes of person which as given by the government. Simple. Now, who is not required to get himself registered? Government entities not dealing in GST supplies, GSTable good supplies, dealer of non-GST goods or services, agriculturist, dealer of exempted goods or services, dealer of nil rated goods or services. These people are not required to get themselves registered exclusively if they are providing these services. You cannot say ki, nay, I am providing this service, but again, there my turnover is huge, but I'll not get myself registered. No, that is not the case. Next is amendment in the registration certificate. Amendments, pretty easy. When you actually go onto the portal and try to modify or amend your registration, it is pretty simple. It has to be furnished. If there are any changes within 15 days of such changes, you have to intimate the government. However, if the officer says, "Nay, you have changed this, I don't like it, I don't agree with it," in that case, opportunity has to be given to you. That is natural justice. Ki opportunity, why he doesn't agree and how you make him agree to it, that is your issue. But with proper documentation, it has to be done. Principle of natural justice has to be followed. Now, GST registration cancellation. Registration हो गया तो registration cancel भी करवाना पड़ेगा. Section 29 deals with it. It can be cancelled by the officer on his own or on the application of the registered person. I am registered. I say that I don't want to continue. There are various reasons why I don't want to continue. So the person who has granted the registration to you, he can cancel your registration also on his own. Again, he can register also on his own. So he can cancel also on his own. You can apply also on your own. You can apply for cancellation also on your own. See, there are various reasons: business discontinued, amalgamation, death, demerger, any change in the constitution of business. Say it was a proprietorship concern, now it is going on to a partnership firm, business takeover. So those are the taxable person no longer liable to be registered. So my turnover last year was 1 crore, but this year my turnover is not even 5 lakh rupees. So I am no longer required to be registered. I can get myself cancelled. Registration may be cancelled retrospectively if the proper officer so deems fit in any of the following situation after giving the person an opportunity of being heard. See, everywhere an opportunity has to be provided to you. We are not in a तुगलकी राज, मतलब it is not that way कि नहीं बोला तो बोला, ऐसे नहीं. A proper opportunity has to be provided to you. When he can cancel on his own, if he feels that you are contravening the provisions of the act. Person paying tax under composition has not filed returns for consecutive 3 tax periods. See here, the word is tax periods. A composition dealer is supposed to file quarterly returns. So 3 consecutive tax periods would be a period of say 9 months. Any other person consecutive 6 months. Here they have mentioned months because here the limit in say the 3B return that we are talking about, it is on monthly basis. If you don't file for 6 months, he may cancel your registration, and that too retrospectively. Say a person has taken voluntary registration. He doesn't commence business for 6 months. Okay, registration can be cancelled retrospectively. Registration has been obtained by means of fraud, willful misstatement, suppression of facts. Yes. So in these cases, it can be cancelled retrospectively. However, registration cancel does not mean कि जो tax आपने collect किया वो आपकी जेब में जाएगा. No, tax liability is not affected. Tax dues have to be paid to the government. Revocation of cancellation of registration. Section 30 deals with it. It says, okay, once the cancellation has been done, within 30 days from the service of cancellation order, it can be revoked as well. You can apply within 30 days from the date of service of order for revocation of cancellation. Again, the officer cannot reject your application without giving you an opportunity of being heard. So as we said, you can surrender your registration for any of the reasons best fit to you. Procedure for registration. See, procedure, it is pretty simple, I would say. See, online application has to be made in REG 01 by declaring your PAN, mobile number, email address, various details. In different persons, different forms. So basically the basic, it is 01, REG 01. Acknowledgement is generated in REG 02, and the registration, the grant of registration or issue of notice is in REG 03. If any data, anything is required. Applicant should reply in REG 04 within 7 working days from the date of receipt of notice. You cannot say, हाँ ठीक है उसने भेजा है ना मैं reply करूँगा बाद में. No, it is 7 days, because everywhere you should have reasonable time. 7 days is considered as reasonable. Now there are documents which are required. Government should also know कि हाँ भाई registration certificate आपको दे रहे हैं तो सब बराबर है कि नहीं. If partnership firm, then partnership deed. In case of company, your MOA, AOA works out. Any registration certificate for a company, a trust, a society, any registration certificate does the job. A principal place of business, okay. For the place of business, government should know ki, okay, where are you running your business from? As we had in the VAT arena, there used to be horrible things for when the proper documents were not accepted by the government, and there was a big chaos with respect to the principal place of business. So if it is your own premises, you have the documents. If it is say electricity bill, municipal bill, that those documents are reasonable for a person to know that okay, this premise is owned. If it is a rented or leased premise, then a valid rent or lease agreement. Now, practically, what is a valid agreement that they are considering? If it is registered, then they are taking it as a valid thing. And along with the valid lease agreement or rent agreement, you can have your invoice for electricity bill or municipal bill also, which again correlates. Consent letter from the consenter. I cannot start operating. I say ki okay, I am operating from Mantralaya. This is my place of business. No, consent letter has to be obtained. Proper documentation has to be obtained. Then only that place can be considered as a place of business. Then they are taking the bank passbook or the statement where name and address is there as another as a separate document stating कि हाँ he has a bank account also. Authorized signatory, the letter, the board resolution is taken. Photograph of whoever is the authorized signatory, plus in case of a proprietorship concern, the photograph of the proprietor. Partnership from any one partner. In case of HUF, the authorized person, Karta, or the managing person. In case of company, managing director. In case of trust, managing trustee. Any other body, say a society, then it may be the chairman or the secretary, that ways. PAN is mandatory for registration. Now PAN is mandatory not only for the entity per se. For the directors also, if it is a company, authorized signatories, for all those cases, PAN of all those people are required. So how is the structure of the GST registration number? It is a 15-digit number. The first 2 digits are the state code. So you have different state codes. Say Jammu and Kashmir has 01, Maharashtra has 27. So 27 is the most appropriate. All of us, if we are registered or if our clients are there, 27 the state of Maharashtra, 24 the state of Gujarat, some of the neighboring states, Delhi 07, Punjab 03, Haryana 06, Manipur 14. So this is the first 2 digits of the GST registration number. So first and second digit are the state code. Then it is followed by your PAN, the 10-digit PAN, permanent income tax permanent account number. Then there is an entity code. Then there is a blank which is a variable digit, and last the check digit. So even if we ignore the last 3 digits, first 2 digits we could come to know about the state code. Next 10 digits we would come to know about the PAN. Multiple registrations. As I said, multiple verticals that we discussed earlier. So the 13th digit represents first business vertical, second business vertical, third business vertical, that ways. Registration procedure, as we discussed, we receive, we log on, we get the login ID and temporary password from the department, submit the application online, we get a confirmation through email and SMS. A word of caution, please do not put your number as a consultant as the dealer's number. Always have the dealer's number per se as the applicant, though you have to take the details from the dealer whatsoever. Please don't put your number as the dealer's number. You get an acknowledgement confirmation through email and SMS, and then if everything is successful, everything is correct, a GSTN is generated, you receive a mail and SMS for that as well, and then you can log in and download the registration certificate. In case there is any query, it is also intimated to you, and after clearance of that query, as discussed earlier, you would get the GST registration number. The user ID, password, the credentials will be permanently used to access the GST common portal always subsequently as well. Grant of registration certificate is based on the information uploaded and the documents uploaded on the site. Rejection. Once the department says, "Ki, I have these problems," you have liberty to clear those queries, even after your explanation, even after you're providing the explanation. If the proper officer is not satisfied, then he would pass a speaking order rejecting your application. Once the rejection has been done, then it is you have the liberty to, you have the right to appeal further. Now, how many days does it normally take for you to, the overall time frame is 30 days. Maximum you can say ki 30 working days you get the things done. Now, for everything, if there is a rectification from the applicant, you have 7 days working time. Response from the jurisdictional officer, response time is 7 days. If it is clearly approved, then the approval time is 3 days. These are the general days that it normally takes on the practical front. Now, after getting your registration, the inspector visits in selected cases. Okay, in whichever case the proper officer feels fine, you should have the inspector visiting you. So the inspector would visit you, come to your place, and then decide whether you are passed or failed. However, what happens in this case is, many a times the major problem, in a few cases it so happened that registration was granted today. Absolutely next day, the officer came down to the premises stating कि नहीं, there are these problems. बाहर बोर्ड नहीं लगाया है, GST number is not displayed properly, this is not there, that is not there. So these are some of the things, pressure tactics or whatever. So you have to be very vigilant. The day you get the registration, you have to inform your clients well in advance कि ये सब चीजें करके रखनी है. आज registration मिला, आज का आज ये सारी चीजें लगा दो. एटलीस्ट एक पेपर पे प्रिंट आउट या एक डिस्प्ले बोर्ड वो लगा दो कि दिख जाए कि हाँ ये है. अच्छा बोर्ड बाद में बनाना चलेगा एटलीस्ट इंस्पेक्शन में, बिकॉज इफ योर लक इज बैड यू वुड कम द नेक्स्ट डे एंड से कि नहीं अभी ये सब प्रॉब्लम्स है, एंड देन unnecessary fighting it out is no fun at all. So I have exceeded the time allotted to me, but this brings me to the end of the presentation. And there are certain other peculiar cases also for registration. Say for example, the Cooperative Housing Society. It is not just 20 lakh limit which is applicable to it. There is another sub limit also, another limit also applicable to it, that the registration is required if 20 lakhs is crossed and 7,500 maintenance charges per person that is covered. So this was just a passing remark. We can have an entire session on that also. But you have to see on case-to-case basis. This was just a general presentation for the registration part.
Hiral bhai.
Yes.
Haji. In the chat, there are 2-3 questions are there in the chat. You just go through it and kindly answer to everybody.
Yes, sir. Just a minute.
Before they take, yeah. Alok bhai?
Sir,
it's left already.
Okay.
One of the queries that we have is, if turnover of a tax consultant is less than 20 lakhs, whether his GST client should pay RCM on his professional fees. Sir, I presume tax consultant in this case is other than a chartered accountant and an advocate. Then if we look at it from the tax consultant, okay, it is below 20 lakhs. So as of now, there is no RCM payable on his professional fees. Please be clear, not an advocate, just a tax consultant.
Any other questions are there?
Paresh Rawalji has a question. My client provide manpower supply agency services, regular, and hotel catering composition scheme, both under same TIN, registered under same registered premises. Is it possible to provide regular scheme and composition scheme under the same TIN, or separate registration is mandatory? Sir, you cannot have both the schemes working together. And so if it is composition scheme, then you are not allowed, you are out of composition scheme basically, if it is a regular business as well. Cake shop, bakery supplies in its own shop can register as a composition dealer. Yes, the registration as a composition dealer is possible. Because the problem with composition scheme is not applicable if it is ice cream and other edible ice. Pan masala, your cake shop or bakery supplies don't fall into those categories, nor it falls under tobacco. So it is, you are eligible for being a composition dealer. A dealer providing labor job for stitching, dyeing of kurtis, whether he is required for registration, and if possible, what are the rate of GST on same material provided by the supplier party. Okay, for labor job for textile industry, I'll exactly have to check the rate. So it would not be possible for me to reply it right now. Yes, but he would be required to get himself registered if his labor job charges are crossing the threshold limit of 20 lakh rupees. Then he has to get himself registered. Can we modify mobile number and email ID which is taken at the time of registration? Yes, you can modify both of them. However, again, to reiterate, because this is one error that most of us normally do is we put our mobile number and our email ID. And Bharatji, your query may be related to it, Mr. Bharat Patel, that अभी अपना नंबर डाल देते हैं ना, बाद में रजिस्ट्रेशन सर्टिफिकेट आ जाएगा ना, उसके बाद डीलर का डाल देंगे. पर आई वुड से प्लीज डोंट डू दैट. Construction company gets order in another state, should he will be liable to register as a taxable, as a casual taxable person? Yes, if he does not have a place of business in the other state, then he can get himself registered as casual taxable person. Dhaval Dedhia has a query. Company A having registration in Mumbai has obtained contract for carrying out operation and maintenance of electricity towers in Bihar. It had outsourced the said work back to another subcontractor. Whether company A is mandatorily required to obtain registration in Bihar, or it can raise IGST invoice. In my opinion, you have to obtain the registration in Bihar as well. However, this works contract query can be taken for months together to discuss, and there would not be an end to it. Registration number taken, but no business site. Once then, hence erroneously no return filed, and now registration number being cancelled by department. How can we get revocation done and continue with business? Okay, sorry, since then. Okay. We have problems for that auto typing as well. I understood, sir. Registration number taken, but no business since then. Okay. Hence, no returns were filed. Registration has been cancelled. So you can opt in for revocation of cancellation of registration and continue with the business. You have a time frame of 30 days wherein you can apply for revocation of cancellation from the department. I think all the queries are through. Back to the organizer.
Mahesh,
Yeah.
I think queries have been done with. I want to say something here because there are, I can see many only numbers are there. There are no names in the while they are registering for the Zoom meeting. Okay, it's a required. If you want to go to the Zoom, you have to put your name. There are, I can see some only mobile numbers, some other things are there, but it is compulsory. The next time will not do that unless you log in with your name. Make it sure
that is important.
Yeah, it is Zoom. For the Zoom, they have given the advisory for that. It must.
No, but it is a Kushnani Sahab, it is made compulsory also.
Yeah, it's made compulsory also. That's
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, now we will disable that so that everybody has to log in with their name. Yeah, full name.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we will be having lecture on time of supply.
Yeah.
And the speaker is Mr. Shantanu Badwe. And thereafter Aditya Surte is there, which is on place of supply. And thereafter ITC, Ashik Shah is there. With this, I request Sujay Mehta, our managing committee member, to propose hearty vote of thanks to our evergreen speaker Hiral Shah. Thank you, Hiral. Sujay.
Thank you,
Hello,
Mr.
Sujay.
Mahesh. Hello. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mahesh Conveyor. I
Yeah.
have the privilege
Yes,
and the
yes.
honor to give vote of thanks to CA Hiral Shah for this wonderful lecture on registration, also making us understand the basics and covering all aspects of registration. Thank you, Hiral Shah, and all my committee members and all the participants who attended the coaching class. We will see you again tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.